the words that we speak hold an energy, they hold an emotion, they hold to each and every individual, they hold an image, and yeah, they hold an energy as well. So even the words that we speak, the thoughts that we have, what follows on from that is an energy, and so even that can affect our dogs.
The Pet Health and Happiness podcast from Bella+Duke, helping you at the cutting edge of pet nutrition, behaviour and health with expert interviews, mythbusters and more to ensure your pet lives a long, happy and healthy life.
Hello, welcome to our next episode. I'm here, Rowan Sanderson, CNO, Chief Nutritional Officer with the fabulous Dr. Isla Fishburn. And today we're going to be talking about connecting with and understanding your pooch. Dr. Isla, welcome.
Oh, Mars, lovely to see you, Rowan. Thank you so much for inviting me onto this lovely podcast on a beautiful sunny day. It's lovely to see you, lovely to be here.
Oh, it's lovely to be seen and it's great to see you as well. Dr. Isla, I've loved the podcasts we have done in the past. I really love your slant on it. You bring a really new, fresh perspective to lots of the things we're talking about. There's always a lot more depth, quite often a lot more spirituality. And today, we're going to treat everybody to connecting with and understanding your pet, a la Dr. Isla.
So, well, hello, beautiful people. Hope you're having a beautiful week, enjoying just the spring coming, and like the birds are busy building nests and all the animals are coming out and all the flowers are coming out. And I just hope that you are aware of how supported we are feeling and we are right now from just nature and earth. Beautiful, beautiful. So the first thing I wanted to kind of talk about was the concept of really understanding our dogs as individuals, and seeing our dogs as not just a domestic animal, but a whole system. And with that, the concept of our dog being a whole ecosystem. So they themselves as individuals and their entire being is communicating within itself all of the time. So we can't tease apart a dog's nervous system from its immune system, from its digestive system, from its organs, from its physiological system, from its emotional state. The dog as a whole is all interconnected and communicating with itself all of the time. But also that just expands out and out and out and out. So our dogs are in constant communication with you, with other dogs that the dog lives with dogs that the dog will meet in parks or when you're on walks or when you're on holiday, and other people and animals and everything. And so there's this concept of everything is like a collective consciousness, and DNA itself is emitting low level frequencies of energy, of resonance that our dogs are absorbing all of the time. And so this is why what we have to remember is that anything and everything that a dog sees, hears, smells, tastes, touches or feels from before birth up until this moment is influencing our dogs. Our dogs are absorbing all this information from a state of energy as experiences that are shaping their very, very existence, which is why it begins before our dogs are born. So often we can make the mistake of thinking that, we might have had a rescue dog in the past that was maybe, hard work because the dog may have had trauma that was, the dog struggled to overcome those challenges from that. So we think, well, okay, we'll have a puppy and we'll start with a blank sheet of paper, we'll start with a blank canvas. We are not necessarily start with any blank canvas whatsoever, because even when a pup is developing as a single cell, because its mother is alive and there's an ancestry of the lineage and histories and experiences of what happened with not just parents, but grandparents and great-grandparents, then that is actually having an influence on the puppy as it develops. Did your hand go up there?
It did. Because I'm loving this, but I'm just going to join in for a second, not to interrupt the flow,
That's
but
fine.
to contribute to this beautiful stream. Is some of the points that you're making are just like going, wow, and super resonating with me. Why? When you say, oh, we're interacting with consciousness and streams of energy. Well, recently, as in the last 3 years, demonstrated that your own heartbeat emits an electrical signal which can be detected by over 20 feet. And that's why they think if somebody comes into the room and they're actually feeling angry, they can feel that in their heart rate variability. For instance, if you go into the pub and somebody walks in who absolutely loves dogs, your dog knows and will
Yeah.
turn around and see them. They're picking up on that. So just because we can't always see energy doesn't mean it exists. So I totally agree with you. I
Yes.
think it's
Yeah.
fabulous. And something to share with you about this history. Why is it, for instance, Kismet, my Spanish water dog, which is basically, it's called a water dog, the name, but ultimately it's traditionally a sheepdog. She will go out and herd, for instance, when my sister's kids are here. She will find the smallest of them and she will make sure she's at the back. Why? Because that's in their DNA. So I say it's not just basically their parents and their parents' parents. We've got generations of DNA.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to quantify that for some people, because sometimes these concepts are so out there. And actually, science is running to try and keep up with this and proving all of it. That's what's really exciting.
Love it. I'm gonna fist punch that.
Boom.
No, you're more than welcome.
Please.
And so that's what I get. And actually, it's a great example today, because today at home is quite windy. Where, like, think about it like the wind. Like we can't grab it, we can't see it, but yet we're aware of it and we can feel it. And this is why, as individuals, regardless of what species we are, whether we're a dog, whether we're a human, whether we're a cat, whether we're a cow, an elephant, like, we are all first and foremost vibrational beings. And so the way that I work is looking at cellular health and vibrational health, and how we support and conserve and protect our dogs as vibrational vessels, as energy vessels, because energy can be knocked out so easily and so frequently and so quickly. And the concept is, like, you could use the pub example, or I say to people, imagine how you feel when you see someone who walks through the door who you absolutely love, who's quickly followed behind by someone who you absolutely hate. Instantly, it's like, oh, it's you. Oh, I didn't know you were behind them. That's a change in energy right there. And this is what I really want people to understand, because, like you mentioned about the heart, so it's the Heart Math Institute, which is an amazing organization. They're just incredible, aren't they? So they're the ones that also found out that the heart has an electromagnetic frequency that is 5,000 times stronger than any other area in the body. And this is what I love about dogs. This is the crazy thing as humans. There is a saying and a concept which was passed on to me, which is the mind is a powerful servant but a cruel master. And as humans, yeah, isn't it beautiful? But as humans, we are the only species, which kind of makes me laugh, we're the only species that lives, or is conditioned to live from our mind, rather than actually a place where we truly feel and truly respond and are truly free, which is in the body. And when we look at our dogs, when we observe our dogs, that's exactly what they're doing. They're responding based on how they feel. They're responding based on, yes, all these experiences that they absorb as this energy being and this cellular being, but their response is in the moment. Their response is, this is how I feel now. This is how I need to respond now. And so it's very true and very authentic and very, very pure and honest and raw. And this is what I really love when I work with clients, of when they're working with their dog, of getting the human, the guardian, to come back into their body, to come out of their mind, which is creating all manner of stories and words and events and scenarios of, wow, if we just become still and come back into feeling it and being in our body and responding with where we should all be responding from, which is what our dogs do and all other animals do, then we can really tap into the energy state that affects our own ecosystems as well as our dogs.
This is awesome. I'm just smiling, because ultimately what we're saying is dogs and other mammals are innately honest, because what they do is heartfelt and authentic.
Yeah. And I say, rather than a thought sense, it's a felt sense. And this is like when we talked about just before, science is struggling to catch up with kind of what indigenous cultures have known for since they were on the land. Like, this is what my work does. It combines science with indigenous wisdom, because we can't have one without the other. And science is catching up with what indigenous cultures have known for hundreds of thousands of years, of not just how interconnected we are, but how everything is an energy. So there is a science. It happens at a quantum level. It's biophoton research, it's molecular biology, all of those things in one.
100%. And and that's why I deliberately use the word heartfelt. there was some research which I'm sure you know about this. Some research came out. I think it must have been 4 or 5 years ago, and it may have been when I was doing some lectures on heart math, as in I was learning about it.
Yeah.
And I, like you, totally fascinated with it, love it. I've used it with human clients in the past, really successfully. I just love the whole idea of coherence, but that's a different podcast. But what they did show is that the heart obviously has neurons in it. So the heart thinks. And they had a little experiment to watch the electrical transmissions between the heart and the brain, thinking, okay, the brain controls the heart. What they became massively aware of is that the majority of electrical information is traveling from the heart to the brain, which is why heart math works. When you think about, people say, oh, I saw a picture of my first baby daughter, and their heart coherence frequency changes. I think it's amazing. It's a real paradigm shift for everyone.
I just, what really blew my mind to do with, and now I don't think it was heart math where I understood this is, but this is again what I say to people, because it's just, you can just see people go like, really? Is that even before the brain develops, the heart develops first. So the heart starts beating before the brain develops. Whereas a lot of people would think, no, the brain controls everything. So the brain obviously then, influences the nervous system and the heart. And then like, no, the heart, we are animals that respond first and foremost through our heart, because it's our heartbeat that begins and develops first, even before our brain. And so our heart is a sensory being. Our heart is a sensory organ, an organ of perception, is very much alive and is very much receiving and communicating to not just the body itself, but also what is going on outside. So there's a beautiful saying of as within, so without. What is happening within is also a reflection of what's happening from outside. Also, what is happening from outside influences what's happening within as well. And then our dogs as individuals and us as individuals will, our ecosystems and the vibrational resonance that we emit and that we live from can be influenced and encouraged by external situations as well as internal circumstances as well.
Interesting. So, I mean, literally, I'm listening to this and super fascinated. So how do we apply this? So for everybody listening at home, how do they apply this? So this understanding about the heart being a sensory organ, etc., for us to better connect with and understand our pets.
Oh, do you know what? That's just, I'm just like that. Nom, nom, nom. It's like eating candy floss. It's such a great question. Yeah, because I'm like excited. I can feel that question just like melt into my mouth as you were asking it. And yeah, so there's actually so many things that we can do that can be from a little bit more complex to just really, really simple. And from a really simple perspective, so when we think of ourselves as like an energy being, which we are, this beautiful vessel that is to carry our essence, which is what we have, even our thoughts generate an energy. The words that we speak, and this is what I love. This is why when we talk about when we're at school and we learn about spelling, how we spell words, because words create spells. So even the words that we speak hold an energy. They hold an emotion. They hold to each and every individual. They hold an image, and yeah, they hold an energy as well. So even the words that we speak, the thoughts that we have, what follows on from that is an energy. And so even that can affect our dogs. And what I'm very aware of and what we want people to understand and to consider is that when we actually become just totally present, when we actually just spend, even if it's 2 minutes, I did a post on this just yesterday actually, if we just spend 2 minutes just stopping and stop thinking and stop feeling, so rather than being thought-led, become felt-led, or respond on how the body feels. And if we just sit in that moment with our dogs, you can really see the changes in our dogs as well. So it's about, as an energy system and our dogs being a whole ecosystem, what they are seeking and what they want is for us to actually live and return to be operating in our bodies anyway, but also for them to know that they can feel calm, to know that their anxieties or fears or panics or anger that their guardian is showing doesn't need to be shown, and that they can feel safe around that still, or that they can be placed into environments and situations where their guardian is deliberately, consciously or unconsciously, or actually just factoring in time so that they can simply just be present. And so one of the things that I do with myself and I get my clients to do and what I teach is what's called a self check-in. Like, where are you at today? Where are you functioning from? How does that make you feel? And how is that going to affect your dog? So it's a matter of just being present, which is a great, this is what I love about our dogs. We get so focused on like, oh, what do I need to teach my dog today? What do I need to train my dog in today? What the book can I read about what my dog needs? But our dogs are great teachers for so many reasons. And one of those teachers that they can be is about actually how we are present, and we kind of explore and live from moment to moment. And with that, explore from a place of excitement. Like, my dog is coming up 12, and every time I get that lead out to take her for a walk, she shows the most sincere, pure, like, just joy and excitement and pleasure. Or when it's feeding time, or when we're going to have a bit of rough and tumble in the garden, the level of excitement that she shows is the truth of where we should all be living from. Of this, we are just all energy, and in order to feel well, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, even nutritionally, that the flow that comes through our vessel and the flow that our body feels, I encourage and invite us all that we do it from a place of excitement, because that allows for growth and expansion and actually connection with our dogs in a way that creates growth and purity and calmness for all of us. And as beings, as animals that are then in a physical body, what we all want to operate from is a place of not just safety and survival, but also a place of growth, of learning, of expansion, that allows us to learn more and more about ourselves and about our dogs and about just the workings of life and the connectedness of life, but in a way that is very supportive, in a way that creates and promotes safety and harmony, rather than one that keeps us in a place of feeling unsafe and feeling uncertain, and kind of complaining. And again, these emotional states that we create within our being that then are absorbed by our dog, which can then influence our dog, and they will influence our dog based on who the dog is as an individual. So what can simply vary is your dog a male or a female? How your dog is going to respond will vary on the dog's gender. It will vary on the dog's functional character. It will vary on the dog's life experiences and ancestry, like we already talked about. It will vary on how stable your dog's energy state is already. So there's a whole then collection of pathways, avenues, gateways that can really feed and support a dog's energy system to feeling good, to feeling great, to feeling harmonized, or can actually make that dog feel vulnerable or uncertain, or even start to pester the guardian more, because the dog just is feeling like itchy or hot or irritated or just unclear, because you might be verbally going, it's all right, yeah, no, everything's fine, but you might be thinking like things are not fine at all, or I don't know what my dog needs, or I don't know what I need. And our dogs can pick up on this vibrationally and emotionally.
Wow, you have articulated some really, really beautiful concepts there. And it's funny, I listen to this and I can't help but think back, and occasionally I might be, not present, or in very much a busy, goal-orientated place where I think, okay, I need to get back and I need to do this, and I go to reach out and kiss myself, and that's the energy, and I never think, oh, what's going on with her? I think, oh, what am I emitting for it to feel like that?
Nice.
Whereas as soon as I start eliciting excitement, and there's a couple of friends staying with me here in lockdown towers at the moment, and if we're all kind of laughing and playing, you can see her mouth's open, she's like chattering, she's super excited, she wants to jump around and be part of it. She picks up on that 100%. And that's so important, that our dogs can be a mirror to our own energy. And we have to be careful about what we put into that dog.
Absolutely.
100%. Wow, I love this. And for those people who are watching who are wondering, like, what's functional character, do Google an earlier podcast with Dr. Isla where we talk about functional character. It's one of my favorite topics.
I love functional character.
If we were going to summarize maybe 3 things people can do to better connect with the dog, how would you rank them? Because you've mentioned a few things and we've talked about some topics in a very short space of time, which are actually quite deep and from a very different perspective. So translating that into something practical and applicable for people to go away with and say, okay, I really like these concepts. I want to understand them more. How do they look, feel, actually translate into actions? What would you gently suggest?
Yeah, this way of coexisting with our dogs, I appreciate, is quite new for some people. And it's just like, the only thing I will say is not just the way that I work and the way that I live my life, but just from experience with one of my dogs. So one of my dogs does find modern day life a challenge. She can be very wary and reactive towards strange people and also dogs. And like you said before, Rowan, about, our dogs can really feel excitement. One of the things that I have an awareness of and have to have an awareness of with Cellular, who's my dog who's reactive, brackets, struggles to cope at certain moments in time, not always reactive because I don't really like using that word, is how sensitive her body is to adrenaline. So she can basically detect adrenaline 48 hours after someone's been to the gym, but that's enough for her to then react, because what her body has unfortunately remembered through traumas that she has had is the presence of adrenaline is not something that supports her energy state and her whole system. It actually is detrimental to her safety. So for example, when I got with my husband and we were introducing Cellular to his friends, and she was starting to overcome and start to trust these individuals. One of his friends, he's like very, very tall guy and quite broad, and so when he was sat down, Cellular was fine with him, but there was an issue when he stood up. She was a bit like, I'm not sure again, but we got to a point where she was okay around him, and that he was able to then just kind of message us to say he's going to come to the house, and he just walked into the door. So this day he messaged, say, are you in? I'm going to come for a cuppa. Yeah, it's fine, come in. And as soon as he got hold of that door handle and the door handle went down, Cellular's response was instantly different. She hadn't even seen him yet, but she just flew at that door and was really quite angry. And so I managed to get hold of her, and I just kind of said to him, I was like, are you all right? And he was like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm like that. Why are you red? And he's like, oh, I've been for a run. I'm like, no, you just can't come to the house with this presence of adrenaline. Now, of course, we can, because Cellular lives with us and she knows us, but that's how sensitive a dog is, or a dog's, well, that's how sensitive our vibrational beings are and our energy states are.
Wow.
So it's really, for me, the biggest things that have supported my dog in her feeling vulnerable is working on myself. And so this is going to answer your question now. And also looking at what I class as the non-physical parts, or the soul parts of our dogs, or the soul parts of any being, because we are all not just a physical being, but we have physical parts and non-physical parts. So maybe that's a talk for another time. But the 2 biggest things that for me that I've worked with reactive dogs, and certainly for Cellular, and that's what I'm bringing out now, because I find it fascinating. So I think for some really gentle tips that are not too taxing or too complicated, is the first one really is what I do as a self-check-in, because these are things that we should be doing. No difference between brushing our teeth or washing our face, or grooming our dog if we've got a dog breed that needs to be groomed. These are things that we should do in regular on a daily basis, because energy systems they're fluctuating all the time. That's just fact. So when we do a self-check-in, it's like, one of the things that I loved when I worked with the wolves is every morning when everyone woke up in their enclosures, they would go to each other, and it was almost like they would do a little bit of a play, and they would do a little meet and greet, just to simply ask a question. is everyone the same today as you were yesterday? And it was really
Wow.
beautiful, really, really beautiful.
Wow.
Before anything started, it was like, let's have this meet and greet. And guys, did you have a good sleep? And how are you? And it was really, yeah, it was really, really beautiful. And it was always been a good reminder for me. And something that I do now is, okay, I'm just going to sit and I'm just going to do a self check-in of where am I at? Am I stuck in my head or am I in my heart? Where are my thoughts? Where are my words? Am I feeling like at the moment, what I'm aware of collectively, and this can be affecting our dogs, is a lot of people right now have been saying to me like, Isla, I feel quite drained and I'm not sure why. And some of us that are maybe already energetically attuned or energetically sensitive, or some of us that actually aren't even aware of how energetically sensitive we are, we're kind of feeling the collective consciousness of us having adrenal fatigue right now because of the whole pandemic, and a lot of people have been kind of living from stress and survival and anxiety. So that has created like a massive surge of this collective feeling of panic, that even if we don't feel panicked ourselves, we're feeling a little bit depleted, and again that can affect our dogs. So it literally is okay.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
that makes so much sense.
Good. I did a post on it just a few days ago because so many people were feeling it, including myself. It started on Thursday, and I was like, I'm not really sure. Like, I feel really good, and I've always felt good. I'm dealing with the way that I will in my own way, but why am I feeling so drained? And I'm like, of course, it's just the collective. So doing a self check-in is, can just be a quick like boom, 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 boom. Where am I at? And for the best of your own health, as well as the best of your dog's health, where do you want to be? And that I appreciate, I'm happy to say, because it's part of my story and something I talk about now, and I now live life very differently. But like, I've been through those states of like depression and anxiety, and I'm not good enough and everyone's better than me. And so I'm not saying do a self check-in and, oh, your life is miraculous, your fairy godmother's going to appear and life's going to change instantly. But just by doing these little things on a daily basis will start to make you body aware, will start to make you aware of how different you feel when you do a self check-in, and you basically come back to what I class as your indigenous self. Whereas if we then get stuck into our thoughts. So I'll definitely do a self check-in. With that, I would very much do some breath work, and a really simple one is you just breathe in for the count of 4, hold for the count of 4, breathe out for the count of 4, hold for the count of 4. And whilst you're doing that, just have an awareness of your heartbeat. As you again have awareness of your heartbeat, you're dropping back into yourself, and also the natural rhythm and the natural cycle of how we should wear in the body and what our vibrational state should naturally be when we are at rest, when we are at peace.
Awesome.
And one more, and I'm like, oh, which one? I would also say, when we are out walking, because this is important, like, our dogs are with us all the time, they live with us, and then we take them out to exercise, that when we're out, make your daily walks with your dog like more almost like soulful and spiritual, and have an awareness, again, I guess, go back to that presence of that awareness of what's around you. So don't be stuck in your thoughts, even if it's not negative thoughts. It's like, oh, when we get back, I need to do the dishes, and I need to make tea, or I need to do this phone call. Like, right now you are out with your dog, and what is around you, and how does that make you feel, and really just enjoy the being out in nature, or being outside, and with that, in a state of appreciation of what you are fortunate enough to have, the tiniest of things. And this is what I'm getting my clients to do right now, just the tiniest of things that you can appreciate, and have an excitement of, very much like our dogs, or just have that gratitude for. That's where I start.
Though, Dr. Isla Fishburn, those are awesome. I think those are 3 tips for better living, full stop, let alone connecting with our pets. So self-check-in, the square breath, as it is, 4, 4, 4, 4.
Yeah.
And basically being present and soulful when we're out walking our dogs. Yeah. Wow. It seems so simple, yet it's all so potent. So on that note, I'm going to say thank you very much for joining us and sharing with us
Thank you.
your wisdom and your energy and your joyfulness. And I'm really looking forward to getting back on for some more learning to share with our listeners.
Let's do it. Let's do it, man. Yes.
Okay.
Always a
Well,
pleasure.
thank you so much. Please
Thank you
keep
so much.
sane, safe, sanguine, keep smiling, and let's please keep in touch.
Yes. And you too, my friend. Mwah.
Isla, thank you so much, and see you again soon.
Yeah, see you soon.
And before we go, I believe, and how have we forgotten this? You're about to launch a really brand new course. Where can people find out about that?
Oh, yeah. So thank you. Yeah, we did just like that. We're just on a trail of energy and vibration. So if people want to understand just like your dog as a whole ecosystem, from a physical being to an energy being, then please take a look at my online course. If you go to Kachina Canine, I'm going to have to spell that, aren't I? Kachina, Canine, the word, not the letter and the number, .com. Then there's basically, then on my webpage it says online course. Getting some really beautiful feedback from the course.
Tremendous.
I just love it. Yeah.
Tremendous. I may sign up for that myself. And so we will put a link to that at the bottom of today's show notes, kachinacanine.com, and the course is going to be called?
It's Complete Canine Wellness.
Awesome.
That's what it's called.
Awesome.
Oh, but there is also a free webinar that people can access on my website as well. If they don't want to dive into this course straight away, they can view a free webinar.
Fabulous. Okay, well, Dr. Isla Fishburn, thank you so much. We're all wishing you well, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Stay healthy and stay well, guys. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, take care.
Catch you soon. Bye.